Thank you, Mark. And thank you so much to each and every one of you for being here today, for taking the time, for having the courage and the dedication to be here, to show up for yourselves and for each other. Your presence is really valuable. I want to begin by just going back to and picking up on our discussion from Wednesday. For those who were here in this space, we spoke about what it means to be a blessing, as Abraham was instructed to be in our Torah portion. And we engaged in a blessing practice that evoked our basic desire, our deep desire for well-being for ourselves and for those who we hold dear. So as we settle in, as we put aside everything that is pulling on our attention, I want us to begin with a one-word prayer. Very simple, so deep. Shalom. Giving space for the deep yearning for peace in this time of war, for shlemut, wholeness, in this time of mashber, of breaking open, of crisis, of all that Hebrew word mashber holds. So let's begin. If you'd like to close your eyes for a moment or just have a soft gaze. And just make some space for your deep yearning, for shalom. And join me with one word. Shalom. 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 We dedicate our practice today to bringing some measure of peace into our hearts, into our homes, into our communities, and into this world. I want to continue this exploration of what it means to be a blessing for Abraham, for Sarah, for our ancestors, and for us. I imagine Abraham, who hears the call to lech lecha, to go forth, is really in a state of crisis, of breaking open, of mashber. Everything that he has been taught, all of his assumptions, have been shattered. Rabbinic Midrash offers what is for me a very powerful and resonant image: the physical breaking apart of the idols in which his family had placed their faith. I imagine that Abraham doesn't know in this moment who or how to be. Everything has fallen away. Over the past 2 weeks, I have felt this mashber, the shattering of foundations, the breaking and the breaking open, as well as the breaking of our hearts in the face of so much loss. And the question, who am I in this? How might I be a blessing in some small way? And from where will I draw the strength and the courage to be a blessing in this very frightening and challenging moment? The divine invitation to Abraham is to just begin by turning inward, lech lecha. And the divine promise, perhaps, is that he will discover something new about himself, some quality or skill or vision that is his unique contribution to offer. From precisely this place, he will find the capacity, the materials with which to be a blessing. The Hasidic commentator, the Sfat Emet, speaks of the nikuda pnimit, the innermost point in each of us. And Jordan, if you'll share the text, please. So the Sfat Emet says, every person, each one of us, has within them a nekudah, a point that is actually a gift from the divine. And really, a person just needs to expand this point and draw all of their actions from it. Just. It's a big ask. Rivka Miriam, the contemporary Israeli poet, puts it this way. Once in a while, the elders told, and we might imagine these elders being Abraham and Sarah. Once in a while, the elders told, suddenly, there falls upon us with storm and tempest, with fear, with real fear and trembling, a new language, a new way of speaking and thinking that we might not even understand. It's unknown. Language of a kingdom, language of an eon, language of a star. Yesterday, we were talking about the stars that Avram looked up and saw. And our self, our ani, the one that is never seen and which cannot be touched, moves forth, expanding. I want to just add one piece to that image that Rabbi Yelshai was talking about yesterday of Avram looking up and seeing the stars. It says a few verses later that it was actually still daytime. The sun had not yet set. And so Avram was asked to look up and have faith that those stars that he couldn't see, the ones that were hidden, were actually there. And so this self, the ani that is never seen and cannot be touched, moves forth, expanding. Thank you, Jordan. In his commentary on Parshat Miketz, the Sfat Emet suggests that this inner point is hidden, but that on Shabbat, this time of rest, and really any time we turn inward, like in our practice, we have a path to access this point. And from this nikuda pnimit, we may discover some new way of being, some new sacred vitality in this time when we are so overwhelmed and so tired. And the Me'or Einayim adds that each spark that has to be uplifted in our project of Tikkun Olam can only be lifted by the soul for whom it was designated. Each of us is needed, which is one of the many reasons that the enormous loss of life in this time is so very devastating. Before we sit, I want to share a contemporary Lech Lecha story. Rabbi Jonathan Oberman, Zichrono Livracha, lived in Israel and worked as a farmer for 26 years until he contracted polio and could no longer do this work. It was a mashber moment for him, and things fell away. His Lech Lecha journey brought him to the United States, where he was instrumental in bringing Jewish meditation to this country. He taught Jewish mystical teachings and meditation to disaffected college students, and fortunately for each one of us here, was instrumental in founding the IJS, Institute for Spirituality. He was truly a blessing to many of us and passed away 6 months ago. And he spoke of this nekudat pnimit, this inner point, as the part of ourselves that is unsullied. Unsullied. Beneath all the, he would say, schmutz of our fear and our anger and our confusion, there is a part of us that is unsullied. This light, this neshama, this innermost point, this ani, this self, capital S. And we are now in a storm, a tempest, a mashber. The ground under our feet is breaking apart, and we are invited to lech lecha, to invite into our awareness that innermost point and to act from it somehow. In our practice, we soften the hold of our ego. We lovingly attend to our fear and our rage and our grief so that it may move through us at its own pace, allowing it to be as it is until it moves on its own. When we peer through the layers of constriction within, we let our own completely unique essence, our ani, our nekudah, shine through more brightly and move forth, expanding. We journey inward, lech lecha, and invite our particular gifts and simply the gift of our presence to come forth in the light of our welcoming, compassionate awareness so that we can be a blessing each in our own way. So let's sit for a little bit. I invite you, if your eyes are not already closed and if it's comfortable, to close your eyes. Feel your feet on the ground. If you'd like to take off your shoes, you can really feel the feet on your ground. I welcome you to do that. Maybe put some pressure on one foot and then the other, if you're able. Really feel the ground holding you. The chair supporting you. This space and this time holding you. Invite your shoulders to soften, to broaden, expanding, taking up a comfortable amount of space. Invite your jaw to soften, your face to lengthen. Let your eyes rest in their sockets. And notice the breath coming in and out, all on its own. In our Parsha, Sarai and Avram are gifted with the letter Hey in their name. The Hey might represent the Shekhinah, the accessible indwelling presence of the divine. It may also be the out breath. So you might want to begin by just taking some audible out breaths. And breathing in. And again, a long out breath. And in. And then going at your own pace, just not making the breath to go any particular way, just receiving this breath and letting it go. And then the next. Not searching for that nikuda primit, but just trusting that as we bring our loving, caring, compassionate, welcoming, spacious awareness to our direct sensory experience, in our breath, or in whatever is most prevalent in your body today. Trusting that this resting in our experience is a gateway, is an invitation to that ani, to that full presence of self. We'll sit like this for a bit, about 6 minutes. You find that your attention is elsewhere, gently welcome your awareness to rest in your breath. that you may stay with your breath or open to whatever is most prevalent in your field of awareness. Maybe a tightness in the shoulder, or a buzzing in the knee, whatever it is. If strong emotions arise, investigate, get curious about where in your direct sensory experience that emotion may be showing up, and rest your awareness there. For the last few minutes of our sit together, if you'd like, you may want to sense, feel, or imagine that innermost point, that nikuda pnimit, maybe in your solar plexus or belly. You may experience it as a sensation, color, whatever arises for you. There's no right or wrong. You may want to imagine inviting that point gently to expand and fill your whole being. Not going into story about it, but really just receiving, noticing, witnessing the quality of that precious self. That sacred self. And coming back to your breath for just a moment. You might want to wiggle your toes or fingers if you're able. And when you're ready, gently opening your eyes. Coming back.
Thank you so much, Margie. Friends, we stay with that practice And I really invite you to stay present for those who are reciting the Mourner's Kaddish or morning, serving yahrzeit, or if it's your custom where you'd like to join. And if you're not reciting Kaddish, just to imagine that you might be the last person in the minyan that creates the possibility, creates the container for that, making that possible. So please offer your compassion and support if at all possible. Stay present. Thanks, Jordan, for sharing the words on the screen. If you're reciting Kaddish, you can join me now by rising in body or in spirit. And you can unmute at this time. Yitgadal, Yitadash, Shemei Rabbah, Yalmad, Yirach, Yirudut, Yamid, Kutei, Kai, Agala, Shalom, Barach, Lam, Ame, Amaya, Barach, Shabbat, Paul Yoshvei Amen. Amen. Friends, thank you so much for joining us today. And if you're leaving us now, I want to wish you Shabbat Shalom. I want to thank our teacher today, Rabbi Margie Jacobs, for leading such a beautiful practice, such a restorative practice to help us move into Shabbat and to be mindful of that inner point and to experience that as a Neshama Yetera, as an additional soul that we're endowed with on Shabbat. We need it so badly. I want to thank Jordan Pollack for holding our space. And by the way, today happens to be Jordan's birthday. So it would be really nice if people would join me in wishing Jordan a very happy birthday, a year of health and joy and growth ahead. Lots of blessings to you, Jordan. And thank you so much, as always, for holding our space so beautifully. Much gratitude to you. And of course, also lots of gratitude to you, Arthur Pletzer, for sponsoring our sit today in loving memory of your wife, and Zichrona Livracha, may her memory be a blessing. So if you're leaving us now, we'll hope you join us next week. We have a beautiful lineup of teachers for next week, which I'll put in the chat now, and also remind people, oh, by the way, here is the link to Rabbi Margie's website for those interested in learning more about her offerings. Here's our lineup of teachers for next week. Zach Newman on Monday, joining us from Macomb. Jordan Ben-Dad Appel, Rabbi Jordan Ben-Dad Appel Tuesday. Rabbi Denny Marshall will join us Wednesday. Kimberly Duenas of Jutina Eco will be with us on Thursday. And Kenner Louise Treitman will lead us a week from today into Shabbat. Following week, Rabbi Daniel Raphael Silverstein will be offering a 4-session series for us from Israel on the Shema. So please mark your calendar for that, our usual time. He'll be doing that Monday through Thursday, not next week, but the week after. Okay, and if you're staying on, as you're always invited to, you're welcome to share reflections in the chat, ask questions. And if it's a question, please just preface it by writing question in all caps. Thanks so much, Margie. It was beautiful teaching. And Jordan, if maybe if you can put the link again to the source sheet or the source sheet, that would be great. Well, as you know, Margie, I came in. I got on a little bit later than I usually do. And I'll share that I came in setting, people may have seen these Shabbat tables being set for the hostages both in Israel, and yesterday one was set up in Times Square, and I just participated in setting a table on the Upper West Side here in Manhattan, outside the Museum of Natural History. And the feelings are very big at the moment, really big, very present. And I wanted to invite you know, because you led us really skillfully, beautifully to, you know, to welcome them all, to invite them in, to investigate them. And of course, Tara Brach, you know, the Buddhist teacher, offers this rain practice, which I think originated with a mindfulness teacher, Michelle McDonald. It called up for me the N of RAIN, the acronym. The R is recognize, the A is accept or allow, the I is investigate. That's what brought it up for me when you said investigate. And the N is for non-attachment, or not me, or which is to remind us that we're not synonymous with the thoughts or the feelings or whatever is moving through. That sounds like a statement. There is a question here, which is about that last piece, because I was wondering about, you know, I was like, I got into rain, and then, but you brought it back to the inner point, and I have a sense there's a connection, like that we. So I wanted to invite you to just comment on that, or see what you have to share on that.
There's so much in your question, Mark. So I'll just take a couple pieces, and then if there's more, you can ask more.
Yeah.
The first is with that N, the non-attachment, the non.
I'm sorry, people. I'm going to ask whoever's. There's some sound. We don't usually have this. Margie, I'm just going to mute everyone, and then you probably need to unmute. There we go.
Yeah. So just a couple things, and then you can ask more about that. But if you want, the first is the non-attachment, the non-self, not identifying with those, with the fear, with the anger, with the big feelings, allowing them, not pushing them away, bringing our spacious, flowing awareness to them, but allowing them to move in their own time, and knowing that they are not the self. They are not the essential self. In Buddhism, there's a lot of talk about non-self, right?
Mm-hmm.
No self.
Mm-hmm.
I think, from my perspective, from what I read the Hasidic masters, there is an essential self. It's not the fear and the anger and all of that. It's not the layers that are so big for so many of us right now. It's something else, and it's our access point to the divine. The Tanya says that we are chelek Elohim mamash. We are really a part of the divine, and so it's the divine that lives within us, and it is unique. It's a unique manifestation in each of us. So it's not this sort of very neutral thing. It is full, and it is alive, and it is vitality, and it is really different and powerful for each of us, and it is so desperately needed. So that's the self that I really want us to invite in and welcome and strengthen in these times, and act from. The other question that I heard was about how to be with these big feelings, and I went for a moment in their meditation to a tool that is very helpful for me, which is when big feelings come up, to investigate where are they living in our bodies, in a particular place. And again, not trying to change the tightness in the shoulder or the jaw or whatever it is, just being with it. And it's, for me, it's really important that the quality of awareness that I'm bringing to that place has that quality of the hay. If you think of the shape of the hay, it is spacious, right? And it's stable. And when we bring that healing presence, that Shekhinah, there's a piece in the Zohar that talks about the Shekhinah as the Yud when it's up on high, and it comes down at the moment of the loss of the ancient temple, I don't know if you remember this, but comes down in the shape of a hay. It broadens and expands. Be with us in the shape of the hay. So we take that hay in the quality of awareness and bring it to the tightness in our body, to our difficult emotions. If we're in the state of Yud, if we're in the state of Kotzer Ruach, using a different story, in tightness where we can't really hear, we go to the Exodus story, it's not going to be helpful to bring our awareness to our difficult emotions. It's not going to be helpful to bring our awareness ourselves to a difficult conversation or to the news. If our breath is tight, if we're in that state of literally Kotzer Ruach can mean tightness of breath, then it's time to just go to a more focused and regulated object of awareness, like the breath, or to go take a walk in nature, or to sing or something like that, to take a break, to try to bring healing, bring our awareness to something when that quality of awareness is not in the state of hay, it's not spacious and stable.
Okay, so actually there's a question here from Ruth, who is sheltering in place, I guess, right now in Maine. Just going to share her question. And Ruth, we're sending you love, and of course everyone there. How to feel that the nikuda, that point, matters when there are so many. I guess there's a variation of what you were just talking about. How do we feel that it matters when there's so many overwhelming things going on in the world? We seem insignificant compared to everything that's going on in the world.
I want to allow space for that feeling. I think many of us are feeling completely overwhelmed right now. And that question of where do we go? How can we be a blessing? It's so big. And the invitation from our Parsha is to start with going inside and strengthening ourselves, getting as expanded and powerful and strong as we can in the essence of who we are, ourselves, without dealing with all the outside, and then coming to the outside. And just taking one step, lech lecha, one step, and then the next.
Yeah.
One conversation, one action, one call, whatever it is, and that we absolutely can't do it alone. None of us can do it alone, but each of us really, really matters.
Let's just underscore that. I'm saying that I feel that the support of this group for each other, which is so evident always in the chat, quite amazing how much support and blessing. I saw the other question, Laura, you were asking about, maybe can you expand a little bit what you mean by being a blessing? Here's something I thought about, Margie, actually, when you mentioned that, that when you brought up that piece, that charge to Abraham to be a blessing, that we should be a blessing, is that one of the variations from the shoresh, from the root of that Hebrew, is pool. I always really like that, brecha, and that it's kind of a drawing up, because you invited people to kind of, ground down, feel the support. Yael Shai did the same yesterday, which is another important tool in our box to feel supported in some way. But I like that image of like drawing up and soaking up, or like our colleague Jonathan Kligler likes to say, wicking it up from the ground, which is really just for me, a really helpful metaphor of spreading that sense of connection. I don't know if that's my take on it. What would you say?
So one of the associations or symbols for the Shekhinah is the earth and is physicality. And it's our gateway, and it's our support, especially right now. The time is so uprooting, that connecting with physicality, with the ground, with bodies, our felt sensation is so important. The other thing I want to say in terms of how to be a blessing is we're not going to get it right all the time. Abraham did not get it right all the time. According to the Zohar, he's associated with hospitality, with generosity, with chesed, with this unbounded hospitality. And it's actually right after this hay comes into his name that we see him sitting outside the tent and running to greet these angels, these passersby, as they come and say, come in and eat and sit. And so it's this moment of him being really in his essence and as a blessing. But then we have so many stories in the Torah where he does not get it right. And whatever our unique need is, we're going to make efforts. We're going to get it right sometimes. We're not going to get it right sometimes, but we just keep going. But at least when we invite in that essence, and we might not be able to name it, we might feel it. It might just permeate our actions, and then we recognize, oh, that's part of it. That we know what we're working with.
All right, we're at time. Margie, I want to thank you again so much. I'm going to put once more a link to Rabbi Margie's website, which is Mindful Jewish Moments. Beautiful. It's a beautiful website. As I mentioned, Margie offers spiritual coaching and fine art practice through the Jewish Yoga Studio method, which is really quite an amazing practice. Highly recommend to people. So let's just end with that appreciation and happy birthday to you, Jordan. In tough times, it's not so easy to celebrate, but we all hope send you support and love and our blessings for some joy on your birthday and for a wonderful year unfolding ahead. And wishing everybody here a little bit of shalom and Shabbat, maybe a little bit restorative. Ruth, may you and others be safe where you are. And we hope to see you all back on Monday to practice with Zach Newman of Makom. Many blessings, everyone.